Hello, my name is Jack Mandeville, and welcome to Jack History. If anything I tell you makes you uncomfortable or angry, just remember that I'm just the messenger. So don't shoot me. Shoot one of your old high school history teachers. F you, Mr. Olson. We're going to kick this puppy off by talking about how one family was pretty much responsible for the worst carnage of the 20th century. Trust me, this will make you have more appreciation when your Uncle Randy and your cousin Aiden get into a stupid political argument during Thanksgiving dinner. Let's start out by backing up 70 years when this British broad, Queen Victoria, married her German first cousin, Prince Albert, and this Danish dude, Christian, married his second cousin, Louise. But not before Christian tried to marry and was rejected by Victoria, who was also one of his cousins. Then they all had children, many of whom married their cousins, and their children had children, many of whom also married their cousins. You tracking? I'm going to try to keep the rest as simple as possible for you because only a PhD in European royal inbreeding would be able to coherently explain the rest. By 1914, many of the cousins, who were the direct descendants of the original cousins, occupied the thrones of the United Kingdom, Russia, Germany, Spain, Norway, Greece, and Denmark. And in the summer of 1914, this Australian... Back it up a bit.
G'day, mate.
And in the summer of 1914, this Austrian fella, Franz, was assassinated by this pissed-off Bosnian Serb, Gavrilo. Then, in an ultra-complicated string of events, this German guy, Wilhelm, decided to declare war on his Russian second cousin, Nicky. Nicky was married to his second cousin, Alexandra, who also happened to be the first cousin of their German cousin, Willie. Then the German cousin decided to double down and invade his Belgian cousin, which led their British cousin, George, declaring war on his German first cousin, Willie, in solidarity with his Belgian cousin and Russian first cousin, Nicky, whose wife, Alexandra, also happened to be Georgie's first cousin. And of course, Georgie went into the war with the support of his loving wife and second cousin, Mary, who was also once engaged to Georgie's older brother. Soon after, the German cousin decided to invade France, a group of people who were long past the notion of inbred cousins having control of their country. I'm not lying. These people love killing cousin lovers who try to tell them what to do. They all pretty much stalemated there until the end of the war, but not before the Greek cousin, Constantine, who was married to Sophia, a first cousin of Georgie's and Alexandria, and the sister of Willie, declared war on his German brother-in-law in solidarity with his Russian first cousin, Nicky. Okay, side note, during all of this, the kings of Norway and Denmark, who were brothers and cousins of the Greek, British, and Russian cousins, got together with the kings of Sweden, who was their cousin, and decided to stay neutral through the entire war. Additionally, King Alfonso of Spain, who was married to Georgie's first cousin, Victoria Eugenie, decided to do the same.
Let me be your hero.
Good for all of them. In early 1917, Nicky was increasingly starting to piss off the people of his country because of the cousin war, a disastrous economy, and the fact that his cousin wife was openly hanging out with a psychopath named Rasputin. The Russian people were really starting to show some French-like, F this family sucks kind of sentiments. We'll get back to all that in a little bit. In the middle of all this nonsense, Willie decided to hit up the non-inbred president of Mexico, Jose, who had been doing everything he could to stay out of the European bullshit about getting involved with the war effort against the United States, whose non-inbred leader, Woodrow, had also been doing everything he could to stay out of all that European bullshit. Jose had a nice thing going with Willie and the Germans, but he also had a nice thing going with Georgie and the Brits, because the Brits were purchasing a metric ass ton of oil from Mexico to keep their naval fleets moving. It didn't matter because Willie got a little needy in his correspondence with Jose to get belligerent with Woody, which was intercepted in a telegram by Georgie's people and sent to Woody, which convinced Woody to send his soldiers to get involved with Willie and Georgie's cousin war. Now the non-inbred Americans were about to give assistance to Georgie, who was giving assistance to the non-inbred French while they fought Georgie's first cousin, Willie. This influx in Allied troops was about to drastically change the direction of the war. Now, back to the Russians. So, right about the time the Americans are showing up, Russia is already out of the war in the East and have been fighting each other over whether or not the Russian married cousins get to even stick around anymore. Like members of the American and French revolutions before them, the Russian Bolsheviks were done with the idea of inbred families ruling over them. And like the French specifically, they were just like, let's just kill them. Let's just kill them all. And that's precisely what they did. They killed every single effing person in that family. Period. Hey, since this is the first episode, I don't actually have a sponsor to do an ad read for, but my buddy Lucky Venmo'd me $20, and he's a really good photographer, so I'm just gonna advertise for him. Lucky takes the best photos. If you're looking for a good photographer, hit him up. I always look super handsome in his pictures, and my dick is huge. Of course, before all of that, Nikki contacted he and his wife's cousin, Georgie, and Nikki was like, "Hey, Georgie, you gotta let us out of here and stay with you guys for a while." And then Georgie was all like, "Hey, cousin, no can do. My people are starting to get pretty pissed off at me too, and that would be a bad look on our part." Good luck, buddy. There's nothing more important than family, right? Long story short, the war ended soon after at the cost of millions of untold military and civilian lives. Lives that were cut short because they got caught up in the dumbest family feud in the history of the world. The end. Just kidding. Let me explain to you how their bullshit killed even more people.
Let me show you.
And now, before I continue, understand that certain monarchies, like the British for example, had constitutional restrictions as far as how much they were directly involved with strategic decisions. But at the end of the day, they were the moral figureheads of their country, based on the very system that led up to all of the carnage in the first place. So f them.
I'm not sure what to do with my hands.
So the war ends, and the German monarchy was completely abolished, understandably. The Russian Empire was already becoming the Soviet Union. The Ottoman Empire is becoming the Republic of Turkey. The Austria-Hungarians, who old Franz was supposed to inherit, dissolved into 8 different countries.
Let's put another shrimp on the barbie.
The British monarchs pretty much handed over what was left of their actual powers so they didn't end up like, Nikki and Alex, and held their first general election of a prime minister in history. Places like Spain, Greece, and Italy were barely clinging on to their royal power at this point.
I'll never let go.
And the Norwegian, Danish, and Swedish monarchies, who all decided to sit the whole thing out in the first place, they were actually looking pretty good and healthy in comparison to the shit show that was the rest of Europe. Good for them. On top of that, old Jose, the guy who was trying to keep everybody else at bay, was assassinated in 1920 during the Mexican Revolution, because guys who look like this are always gonna pick on guys who look like Jose. You get a revolution, you get a revolution, everybody gets a revolution!
Oh, great! Real bullets!
I sounded Italian there. It should go without saying that Germany took the brunt of the world's anger after World War I. They lost numerous parts of their territories and were obligated to compensate France, Britain, and Belgium. A compensation program that was a caca fest from the beginning, and with the addition of the Great Depression, sent Germany into an economic spiral that culminated in a complete collapse in 1930. Not only that, sanctions put on them made it impossible for them to develop new weapons and technologies. But they were able to find a little loophole in developing rockets. We'll get back to that later. Germany, now desperate for work, hungry, and in political chaos, was in shambles. "Hey, I have a plan," said this guy. "Yeah, whatever works, man," the public responded. And we all know what happened from there on the European continent. Once again, Americans and Canadians found themselves rushing over there to get caught up in that European mess that became way more global than the last one. The military and civilian death count was almost 4 times as much as the one in the First War. And once again, it saw the subsequent fall of major monarchies like Italy, the Greeks, who since World War I had been going back and forth with their monarchs, eventually lost it all in the 60s. Hey, speaking of Greek monarchs, shortly after World War II, this Greek prince, Philip, who was a direct descendant of all the original cousin lovers, married Elizabeth, who was also a direct descendant of Victoria. And then they have this little incest baby named Chuck, who is the current king of the British. And like his parents, he's related to whatever's left of the European monarchical system, including all 3 of the Scandinavian royal families, who are still doing pretty well and just as inbred as ever. Good for them. And everybody lived happily ever after, and there was never anything wrong with the remaining royalty ever again. So let's sum this up. Gavrilo Princip assassinated Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Germany responded by being the main belligerent in World War I. Germany lost and lost their monarchy. The rest of Europe came down so hard on them with sanctions that they weren't even allowed to make new weapons. But one of those things that wasn't in writing was the concept of the rocket. And since young German engineers and scientists were eager to get back to work with what little opportunity they had, They became the premier rocket scientists in the world, including one Wernher von Braun, who became Mustache Man's main rocket guy during the Second World War. After that all fell apart, the United States had Mr. Braun come over and develop their rocket program, which was eventually implemented in the Gemini and Apollo missions. So there you have it. Gavrilo Princip is the reason why America was first to the moon. Thanks, buddy.
Houston, we have a problem.
Johnny, get your gun, get your gun, get your gun. Take it on the run, on the run, on the run. Hear them calling you and me, everyone for liberty. Hurry right away, no delay, start today. Make your daddy glad to have had such a lad. Tell your sweetheart not to pine, to be proud, her boy's in line. Over there, send the word over there, that the Yanks are coming, the Yanks are coming, the drums rum-tumming everywhere. So prepare, say a prayer, send the world to beware. We'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't come back till it's over there. Johnny, get your gun, get your gun, get your gun. Johnny, show the Hun you're a son of a gun. Hoist the flag and let her fly. Yankee Doodle, do or die. Pack your little kit, show your grit, do your bit. Yankees to the ranks, from the towns and the tanks. Make your mother proud of you and the old red, white, and blue. Over there, send the word, say a prayer. We're coming over, and we won't come back till it's over there. Sing it, Peter. No? Okay.